go. Come on.
Welcome back, Lever Monkeys. Got another exciting episode for you. Going to be ripping out a bunch of slurry on top of some hydronics lines. Going to talk you through the process I go through of tearing this slurry cap off the top of hydronic lines. There's 4 lines that are buried inside this slurry cap, so we'll just take it step by step. First thing I've got going on here is we have an exposed line that I've already snapped. This is the water line that goes to the building, or fire line. So I'm going to go ahead and snap this line off and get it out of the way. That way we don't have to worry about dealing with this thing bouncing around.
Break. There we go.
So once you've established where your slurry cap is, we're going to go ahead and dig the sides out. This will expose weaknesses in the slurry cap. So by opening up the sides, you're also creating a relief point, so that way when you hammer or try to break off a piece of the slurry, it has somewhere to go, so you're not incurring the resistance of the dirt around the slurry. During this process, you want to make sure you're finding the bottom of the slurry cap. That way you're exposing the whole thing. during the process of me cleaning out the side, I noticed this weak point. So I'm going to explore it a little more. And I'm coming to find that it looks like somebody had dug a trench through this slurry cap. It's a huge benefit to me, because what I have now is I have a fracture point that someone else made for me. So I've got this trench through it. I'm going to clean it out, and it's going to give me a place to grab the slurry and try to break it away from the hydronics lines that are buried in this slurry. You've seen I've been able to locate the tops of the pipes using this 2-foot bucket with a blade on it. Now, trying to break slurry away with your bladed bucket is probably a bad idea. Eventually I'm going to swap over to my 3-foot bucket with teeth on it here. By swapping buckets, I'm not going to damage this plate, which a mechanic came out and spent a lot of time welding onto this bucket so that we can find things without damaging them. And yes, the irony of that statement is not lost on me, because we're ripping all this stuff out of the ground. The problem is hydronics lines are wrapped in a styrofoam. You don't want to go ripping into this styrofoam and having styrofoam all over the job site, which now your laborers have to run around and pick up and throw away. When I showed up on this morning, they were telling me they were bringing in a 300 sized machine to rip out all of this slurry. And I was like, okay, the way he explained it to it, there was this huge mass of slurry and concrete that they just were not able to pull out, and they were already making up their mind before actually trying to pull this material out. The main operator on this project had an issue and couldn't be on the job for a few days, so I came in and I took the reins and says, well, let's see what we can do with this before we get that 300 out here. We got to keep the project moving ahead instead of sitting around. I know there's plenty of other things to rip out, but this just had to go. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm just pulling on it, trying to see if it'll even move. Once I see it moves and wiggles, that means I can get it out of the ground. If I can't get it to wiggle, I can't get it out of the ground. So we're just going to clear the edges off, make sure we have all the pressure off of it that we can. You can see I'm getting jerked around a lot in this little tiny 200. And we're just going to keep working our way around it and see if we can find some weak points in it. Also, as a little side note, just on the back side of my bucket is a live line or live electrical duct bank. So I'm trying to be real gentle with the other side, and that's why I'm pushing that material up against that bank so I can use it for the back of my bucket so I don't get into the duct bank. here, I'm just leveling up my work area so that way I'm not rocking back and forth a lot or sitting cockeyed. While I'm here, I see my loader hand needs some help putting some of this garbage in his bucket, so just really quickly help him out, get him on his way. Alright, so working over the side of the tracks, you obviously don't have as much leverage. The machine's going to tip a lot easier. So putting the idlers, the front idlers in front of you, gives you your maximum lifting capacity or pulling capacity. And it's going to give you the ability to pull this material out much easier than you could over the side, because you're just wasting energy pulling yourself over instead of actually lifting the object. So at this point, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lift and pull the bucket in to get underneath this slurry cap, to break it away from the hydraulics lines that are underneath. They're actually poured into the slurry, so if you can imagine that they're poured halfway around, more than halfway, they're gripping those lines and don't want to let go. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing the bucket backwards, boom down and stick out while curling. And that gives you the maximum amount of force on your curl to try to lift this. So what happened during that is it managed to crack the back half, which is allowing me to pull this back piece off. So that was a weak point. So now I've got a little more pressure off of this large structure. The problem I'm running into at this point is I cannot get the bucket far enough underneath the slurry cap to get it to break away. So I'm going to continue trying this spot up front that allows me to give the maximum pull. So I'm eventually going to wedge the bucket in between the two slurry caps and use the other slurry cap as a pry. So here I track forward. Getting closer to what you're trying to lift gives you the maximum lifting capacity of the machine. The closer the stick is, or the closer the picking point is to the machine, the more upward force you have.
Come on, break, you piece of shit.
And just like that, I've popped her free, and now it's a matter of getting this thing out of the hole and over to the pile. from here on out, it's just a matter of cleaning up all the little bits and pieces out of the hole.
Who needs
That way
the 330?
we can get the pipe out of the hole and get the rest of that slurry out. Now we get to make use of Jesse, get him back on his rig instead of standing there with his hands in his pocket.
Now I got a bunch of small stuff.
So Jesse's an experienced loader hand, and he knows right where I want him. And he's already in position and ready to take my load. Piece of slurry that's wrapped fully around the hydronics lines. So what I'm going to do is I'll work around on the rest of the stuff, get everything that I can out of the hole, and that way I'm going to let Jesse finish clean up, and then he's going to come over with the hammer and he's going to break that stuff off the hydronics lines. While he's doing that, what I'm going to do is work with the laborers to clear off an area right up near the building so they can cut the hydraulic lines, and I can pull that other large piece of slurry out of the hole. Alright guys, I'm going to leave this video off here, about 20 minutes. If you guys want to see more of this project that's going on from this point, I can make another video for you guys with that. If you think so, leave a comment below letting me know. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the little tinker bell. All the comments you guys can give me is a great plus and a good push for me. So thanks again guys, see you on the next one.